Alright guys, I don't know which light's better here, but I don't have much light at the moment, especially for this type of filming. But anyway, this is the DC3, and let me show you what's going on. So I've got this, basically I've got a broken arm. So this arm here is broken, and as you can see, it's the full bottom plate that needs to be changed out, so everything has to come apart, and I'm going to try to kind of document it a little bit. So basically what I've done is I took the props off, I cut the zip ties that I had holding the wires for the motors, and I'm getting ready to pull the wires, and then I'm going to take out all the bolts except for the flight controller. I'm going to do those last. I just want to see how long the wires are that go from the flight controller back to the air unit. Alright guys, so I've taken the motors off. First I took the props off, then I took the motors off, and you can see I just left them hanging here. And then I removed the frame bolts, which are these two, and the two here in the middle, and the two here on the front. So right now this whole bottom plate is loose from the unit except for the flight stack. So I'm going to try to separate this first, and we'll see where the wires are hanging and all that, and then we'll go from there. I've tried to lift the bottom plate off. As you can see, it's off of the camera plates here. It's off the front, standing up a little bit, a few millimeters. The middle is up a few millimeters, and the rear is up, or it's loose. It was up. I went ahead and pulled this flight stack bolt out. You just have to make sure you catch the hex bolt that falls off right there on the head. So there's not enough room with all the wires in here. They're tight. It's too tight to lift the plate off. So what I'm going to have to do is just go ahead and remove the bolts for the flight stack, and we'll see. Hopefully everything will go back together with the new plate without too much problem. Alright guys, so I got the flight stack screws out. That's these long ones here. They go all the way down through the flight stack, and now I can just lift this off. So there's the whole bottom plate, and that's the broken arm right there. Nice busted carbon. So that's what it looks like from the underneath. These are the little hex nuts on the top of the flight stack. There's two more inside of there I have to shake out, but I just wanted to go ahead and get this picture of the way it is when I pull the plate off. So you can see the wires here wrapped underneath, and the front motor wires just kind of are attached and go straight out. Their wires are a little bit neater than the one I did. I replaced this motor here, so you can see it's a little some screws there. You can see it's a little less neat. It doesn't go down the way their wires do. But anyway, yes, I'm going to put the new bottom plate on, and hopefully everything goes back together clean. See that little rubber donut there? And there's one missing here and here. These little rubber donuts are hard to push through with the bolt. So what I've done is I just went ahead and took the new bottom plate, put the two bolts through it, and I literally threaded these donuts all the way down so they're on there flush, and then I'm just going to push them through and start threading them down in. And I think that's going to go easier than trying to push through that little rubber donut, because it's pretty tight, and it might end up sliding sideways or whatever. So that's how I'm doing it. We'll see what happens. That's the previous one with the broken arm. Here's the new one, got it back together. And the only thing that gave me a little trouble were these tiny little hex nuts on the top of the flight stack. So those there, it's just, that's something you have to learn when you build these things, is putting this flight stack back together. And that's just getting the hex nuts lined up and putting them on. So that's the hardest part. I still have to zip tie the motor wires down. One thing I wanted to show you was this camera protection system I've built out of foam feet up on the front of the DC3. So it looks pretty elaborate, but it works. So this top one is a foam foot that I've sliced with a razor at that angle, and put another foam foot right on top of it, and it sticks really well. It's on there. So I also take a zip tie and wrap it around from there all the way down around in there, and that keeps that secure. And I also do a zip tie across the front. As you see, I've kind of cut that out, a groove out there. So I'm going to put a zip tie across the front and right behind the front posts to hold that front on. And the way I have this cut right now, and at these angles, these feet are just out of view of the camera, but it works really well for protection. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that. Yes, it adds weight. Is it over 250 grams now? That's questionable. I haven't weighed it, so I'll have to do that. But right now I just really want to protect my DJI investment, so I'm going to fly with it like that for now. Alright guys, so here it is, finished job. The new bottom plate is on, got all the feet on it the way I want. I used a lot of feet, I used a lot of zip ties. These little 4-inch zip ties, I get them at Walmart for like $2. There's like 100 in there. I love them. I'm an engineer, I don't have a 3D printer, but so I used foam feet. I cut them down on the sides, notched them for the zip ties, the same for the front bumper. These are 2 feet together at an angle, and it's like a Nerf protection piece for the camera. Anyway, it works. I didn't have any tape for the motor wires, so I used zip ties, one there and one there. I probably would have rather used tape, but along with one zip tie maybe. And then these are my landing feet. I notched the landing feet with the razor blade. You can see the little inserts that I cut out right here. That basically gives the zip tie a place to sit. And yeah, so I'm going to weigh it next and see what it weighs, but I'm sure I'm over 250 grams at this point. If I have to, I'll rip a couple feet off, maybe rip the middle one off. It's not a big deal, but yeah, most people fly over 250 grams anyway. I was just trying to see what I could stick to. Alright, so let me weigh it and see what I got after the props and battery. Yeah, with all these foam feet, zip ties, and the 850 milliamp 3S battery, I'm at 255. Let me do this one more time here. $255.8 grams. So I need to remove 5.8 grams if I want to stay under. That should give you some idea. But yeah, I've got a camera protector from DJI on here. Although I've busted the glass out of it. And then I've got, you know, like 5 foam feet around the camera, and 7 feet on the bottom. So yeah, it's a lot of feet, but there you go. So I may lighten it some, but that should give you some idea of what I'm running with here.